It's amazing to sit here, be with you, by the way. Contrast and, when you're putting things into your vortex, I still don't quite get that contrast does it. Not, when I'm like feeling happy, blissful, excited, like listening to music or whatever, I feel like that's the time where I'm adding or expanding. I understand, but it's still, contrast is what does it.
Let's call it discernment. Let's call it refinement. In other words, don't you know more clearly that you want to have something to eat when you're hungry? And don't you know more clearly that you would like a warm coat when you're cold? And don't you know that you'd like more money when there isn't enough? And so the contrast just helps you to define who you are and what you want. Mm-hmm. But you're touching upon something that we know that we're going to evolve to in this conversation here today, and that is, you've heard us say, if you've been listening, and we know you have for a while, that there's never an ending to the variety in which you stand. And so, in the contrast in which you stand. And so there's no ending to the expansion of your desire. It's what makes us say to you, you never get it wrong, and you can't get it done. And the reason that it's never wrong is because it's never done. Mm-hmm. And so, so you explore, you launch a rocket. At first, it feels odd to you because this is where your belief is, over here. But you've launched a rocket, and the source within you has taken that rocket and has become it. And so now there is the potential, this very real discord between you, because the larger you has expanded into this new awareness and evolution, while you are a little slower in catching up. But because you care about how you feel, you reach for good feeling thoughts, and you find alignment with it, and you soothe yourself, and you eventually, if you really care about the way you feel, let go of resistance until the synergy of who you really are, the trajectory of who you really are, draws you fully in, and you have this moment of realization as this manifestation now plays out for you in very vivid terms. And in the moment that that happens, not only did you receive the manifestation, or did you experience the revelation of the manifestation, but you also now are standing in another place of contrasting experiences. The contrast has evolved too. Mm-hmm. So now you expand again and again and again and again and again. So this contrast is all about discernment. It's only when you say, I don't want that, which causes you, even if you aren't speaking the words, to launch a rocket of what you do want. But then, I really don't want that, which causes you to launch a stronger rocket. And when there becomes a big gap between where you are hanging around vibrationally and what you've really been asking for, that's when you begin to feel stronger discord. That's when the trajectory of your life shows you evidence that you're really not up to speed with all that you have become. So this is the part that is new. It's the part that we are eager to describe, and you touched on it in a very powerful way. And that is, as you get pretty good at asking and aligning and asking and aligning, as you get up in the morning and you care about how you feel, and you start practicing that vibration of that high-flying disc so that you get some momentum of that under your belt, no thought ever stands still. So if you're there and not contradicting it, and there and not contradicting it, and there and not contradicting it, there begins to gather momentum. And as momentum gathers, you really begin to see things shaping up around you. Now, from that high-flying disc, you are still, like us, not immune to contrast. Because in every particle of the universe, there is that which is wanted and lack of it. And so the choices are always going to be there. But on that high-flying disc, the best way we can say it to you is that the choices are more subtle. So even when you're making a sort of not so good choice, it's not enough to take you off your disc. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're now calling, Esther said, oh, please call it step 4, please call it step 4, please call it step 4. Mm-hmm. So we're calling it step 4. Step 4. Step 4 is,
it's
step
like
1 is,
breaking the rules.
Step 1 is know what you don't want, know what you do want, ask. Step 1 is ask. Step 2 is source and law of attraction brings together all that you're asking for. Ask and it is given. Step 3 is you got to get up to speed with what you're asking for. So that's step 3 is bringing yourself to a place where what's in the vortex can then join you. Step 4 is hanging around there in momentum. A friend said a few seminars ago, I like the idea of this high-flying disc. He said, it feels to me that I would like to be tethered there. So that even though I might dip down like on a bungee cord, I might dip down, I'm not dipping that far. And that's really a very good visual. And that's what you're talking about. So we'd call it choices, not contrast. We'd call it variety. We'd call it selection. We'd call it opportunity. We'd call it the ingredients of the universe. We'd call it the colors of the palette. In other words, it's all just available to you for you to pick and choose from in the way that you want to. So now, we interrupted you to lay a really strong basis, but what are you getting at here? Or did we soothe it?
You soothed it.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So is negative emotion a good thing or a bad thing? Oh, isn't it a lovely thing? Don't you want to know where you're at vibrationally? Mm-hmm. And it's good because it lets you know. What does it let you know? It lets you know there's something that you want that you're not up to speed with. That's pretty much all it lets you know. Negative emotion is something that you want that you're not up to speed with. But then what do you know as a result of that? You say, all right, kill me now. I wanted to feel good, but I don't, so it's done. Or do you know that you have the facilities to bring yourself into alignment with what you want? Mm-hmm. So you can either stop thinking about that, which will continue to challenge you whenever you do think about it, or you have to do something about thinking about it in a way that feels better. Sort of lay some new pipes or find some new thoughts. Something more?
No.
Really good conversation. We're happy to get going in this way. Yes. Step 4. Esther's happy too.